Hello, and thanks for clicking on this video. It's time to read a script. I'm pretty sure everybody's done mowing their lawns, but you might be able to hear my washer and or dryer because they're right below my room. Sorry about that. But, when life is busy, you only get so much time to do stuff like this. So, reading off a script, it is 6 pages long, so this video will be long. Sorry, but I do hope you stick with me because this drama is worth it. This drama mostly speaks for itself, and I just want to point out a few places where it does so epically. This drama being The Legend of Zang Hai. Sum up, I highly recommend this drama. But why? Why do I love this drama? It's been 10 days, well, since when I wrote the script it was 10 days, now it's been like 11, since I finished watching it, and I still haven't written a sum up for it in my drama book. Phooey. I did rate the whole thing 3.5 to 4 out of 5 stars, though, which is rather high. And every time I see a picture of Zang Hai, I get a rush of positive emotions, not negative. So, what's going on? First, what's not in the drama is who the original author of the story is, and that would be Leju, which I'm convinced is a big reason why this story is such a well-done one. I was originally not interested because I heard it's supposed to be Wang Zang Hai, and as my younger sister said instantly when she heard that name, not interested. Yeah, if you love anyone in the Zhang family, you hate everyone in the Wang family. However, it's true that one, I don't remember much about Wang Zang Hai himself in the Grave Robber Chronicles, because what you find out about him is skimmed and scattered, and it's been a while since I read the books. Never mind with the shows. Even the shows, it's been a while since I watched them. And the dude lived like hundreds of years before the GRC people we know. So maybe he himself wasn't as bad as the Wang family that took up his ideals and potentially completely twisted them. I don't remember. But I mean, it's realistic to think hundreds of years passing would change people's views and actions taken. Even the Zhang family changed quite a lot. And I never said I love every Zhang family member either, by the way. The Wangs are trying to kill the Zhangs I do love. So, and Ujie. So, anyway, moving on. This is not really going to be anything to do with any. 2. I also heard, even though my drama list still has this drama linked with the GRC world, without explaining why, my gosh, guys, that's not confusing. I also heard that Zang Hai is not connected to the Grave Robber world anymore. I keep calling it Zang Hai instead of Legend of Zang Hai because it's shorter. Yeah, he is Zang Hai, but he's not Wang Zang Hai, according to a comment. I can't remember where I read it, possibly on my drama list news article. I don't know, because somebody else bought the rights to it or something. Leju sold the rights to it, and therefore it's no longer connected to the Grave Robber Chronicles. Either way, whatever. I ended up watching the drama, and it's so funny because the first picture I saw of it, I thought it was Neo playing Zang Hai. But no offense to Neo, I'm actually glad it wasn't him that acted in this one. I really like Neo, yes, but sometimes it's really nice to watch a story completely disconnected from all the actors and actresses that I know too well. It's refreshing, because the characters don't come with all the baggage of every other character I've seen this actor or actress play before. And yes, I've mentioned it in other dramas before, positive and negative baggage comes along the more well-known this face is to you, and it starts affecting other characters, even though it shouldn't, because you're visually seeing the same face, even though it's not the same person. It is the same person. Anyway, speaking of knowing, I mean, this has happened to me so many times, and yet at the same time, it's still funny and weird every time it does happen. Here I am starting Legend of Zang Hai, and the main girl, Antu, walks on screen, and hold up there, girl! What are you doing here? It's the same actress that plays the main girl as Zuyun in Lighter and Princess, which I was around halfway through, about episode 19, when Zang Hai started airing. So I had to space between and quickly finish Lighter and Princess so the characters didn't instantly overlap each other, because that does happen, like I just said. Same face, same person. Even if they're doing a good job of acting a different character, it is still the same person that you're seeing. Okay, moving on. I watched this drama while it was airing. It's 40 episodes long, and I do believe it should have been 35 at most. It's tough because I was hooked in and good with the pace and everything that was happening until all of a sudden when stuff finally started actually happening, I was like, okay, hold on. Now all of a sudden I feel like this took way too long to come, especially when now that it's finally here, it took even longer. Like, it felt like we're about to for like 3 episodes, 4 episodes, and then finally it happened. And you're like, and I lost my place in the script. And all of a sudden it feels like it took too long to get there, especially when now that it's finally here, so much of the one and done message that Yoku gave me, that it's literally promoted as a one and done shot, is not by far. It's a really, really slow burn on literally everything. This takedown actually took forever. And there was a big part of it that felt far too unsatisfactory. Sorry, there's always something. That was my bird clock. Yeah, what was I saying? There was a big part of it that felt far too unsatisfactory because of other character ties and the way that this guy finally gets taken down. Trying not to spoil too much, at least not yet. It was a bit of a letdown. There's something about it that was just... yeah, for most of this video, I'm going to try to keep it mainly spoiler-free. I'm vague and weird in a few places because I don't want to spoil it, because I don't need to spoil it. The story speaks for itself. But I do have to mention some things that some people would consider spoilers, and I'm going to try to, warn you. Where was I? And then getting into the bad guys, since I just mentioned bad guys, the fact there are suddenly 3 of them, not just 1, which is the biggest reason the drama took so long. The second guy was way too hard to kill. I'm telling you, he survived far longer than is realistically possible, considering the injuries he had. I'm convinced of it. And there's a word for that. Plot armor. The last enemy, I think, only took too long because who it was revealed so late. It was like the whole story was starting over. A little bit, at least. Starting over. There was a bit of a... It didn't quite mesh, but not quite as different from... it was not as bad of a starting over as other dramas that I've seen, which are basically destroyed, in my book, because of the start over. Like, for instance, speaking of Neil, Back from the Brink. That story flipped everything on its head for the last few episodes, and I hated the ending as a result. They cheated, they flipped it all around, I hated it. 1,000 Years for You also did this, and I hated it too. Brand new story for the last couple of episodes that completely destroyed the rest of the story for me. Back to Legend of Zang Hai, that's one thing that I personally just head-desked through the whole drama because of, is Zang Hai's savior. The guy that pulled him out of the fire. He has a mask on, but he is helping Zang Hai get revenge. So for over a decade, he keeps the mask on, and Zang Hai blindly believes in him and listens to whatever he tells him, to the point he suddenly now drops on him that there are 3, not 1 people that together killed Zang Hai's family. And I'm like, wow, dude. Wow. You just conveniently wait and drop it on him over here, and with absolutely no proof whatsoever that this is true. Zang Hai simply believes this masked guy and completely changes his whole plan to run a long race of finding out who these other mysterious people are and how to take them down too. I mean, why? Why are there so many dramas where there's somebody with a mask on so you have no idea who they are, and yet somehow you end up with this ridiculously strong faith in them, and you just believe in them, and you just do whatever they tell you to do, and you just like, dude, why are you keeping the mask on? It's like, really? Is that really necessary? Sometimes there's a good excuse. Most of the time, I don't think that was really a good excuse. Like, what the crap? Why are you keeping a mask on? Why? And why is everybody just blindly following you? I mean, sometimes these revenge stories and how people handle them don't make sense to me. And then we have the whole, so the guy who physically with his own hands murdered Zang Hai's sister, for instance, dies for his crimes completely off screen. All of the people who plotted the plan, even the ones only mildly involved, like the guy who covered up the murder, and the other guy that I don't even remember how he's connected, he's made a huge deal of. But the guy who with his own hands physically killed Zang Hai's sister, and I think some of the others, I'm told died off screen. Like, it took a full episode of him not walking back on screen for me to believe that he actually was gone. And like, is this just a joke? Is this just a trap? He's gonna come back, right? Is it... Wait, you mean it? He's... What? This is taking who is responsible, the one that did it or the one that said to do it, to a whole new level. It's a good debate, the one that's following orders or the one giving them. Who is guiltier? How so? Etc. I think there is an element of case by case within this discussion. But this, he's just a follower, so he doesn't count at all. That's baloney. Like, he's the one that physically did it. Both are accountable, for sure. The one that gave the orders and the one that did it, both are accountable. Even if someone is just following orders, no, they are still guilty. And I suppose, well, no, they didn't say he wasn't guilty. He got his comeuppance. Yeah, over there off screen. Like, he was nobody. He was literally a nobody. He was just an offshoot of, okay, whatever. These guys are the ones that are the big deal. Like, and I just remembered something else that I forgot to write down here, and then I don't know where to stick it in, but I did kind of want to mention, this is one of the problems with revenge stories. Even revenge stories where they are so careful to make sure that only the people that they are actually trying to get revenge on are affected, it never actually works out that way. Because Zang Hai, who cares about innocent people and whatnot, and he's trying to be so careful. What about all these poor little nobodies known as servants? He finally gets his revenge on this one place. And because this one place, like the household, is basically destroyed, which includes all of the poor servants who got sent off into involuntary army service. And then I don't know what happened to the girls. I don't know if they also got sent to the army or where did the girls go. So these like dozens of servants who are completely innocent and had nothing to do with anything all get affected as well. And like there's no remorse, there's no sadness, there's no mention of them, there's no nothing. Like they're literally nobodies and nobody cares. Even Zang Hai never mentions, yeah, well, oops, maybe I should try to do something to save them. No, they're nobodies. Nobody, not even Zang Hai, cares about them. And there's a point where, like, somebody was supposed to die, so all these people go after him and die in the process of trying to take him down. And then the person that actually takes them down, which I'll kind of get back to, takes them down and even makes the comment that, yeah, well, of course I had to do it. I'm the only reliable one that could. Well, then why did those other people have to go after him and die? And, like, nobody's upset that they die. There's so many Fallout people in these stories that literally nobody cares about. And it is kind of... Okay, back to the script. One other thing I did not like about this drama, apart from the Emperor guy, because, wow, he shocked me at one point. I literally said out loud, I don't believe you, man. I don't believe you. Because the Emperors never do that. Like, ever. Except when it's obvious they really shouldn't have. All the times they should have, they never do. And yes, it's a spoiler what he did, so I won't say it. But even though he really did do it, what he should have done, that is, so kudos and all the points for that, I still don't like him. He's a wishy-washy wimp of an absolute idiot. I sort of understand the wishy-washy and feel bad for him after his whole sob story of background, but at the same time, his whole, why won't you believe me? I'd never do that. I'm sitting here going, 'cause that was the first question out of your mouth, dude. How do I? Dude, you weak-minded, weak-willed. I don't like him. Grr. It's so rare for me to like the emperors and empresses because they're all like this. Even the magnanimous, wonderful ones are like... But that wasn't the one other thing. The one other thing I was talking about was Antu. When she was first introduced, and for something like half the drama, for one thing, I saw the tag romance, and I was like, what? There's no romance? This is not a romance at all, in the slightest. Zang Hai is way too focused on revenge, and has been for his entire life. He knows nothing about dealing with girls. Nothing about love and romance. Absolutely zero. Nobody ever taught him anything. No idea. And he's focused on revenge. And whatever Antu is doing, it's not romantic. It's not even cute. I'm telling you, if you did not know that Antu is a good guy, and in fact that the story does include a romance, and that she is the one that's a love interest of Zang Hai, analyze her behavior. Truly analyze what she's doing. She is exactly the same as the bad guys. I dare you to prove me otherwise. The way she backs Zang Hai into a corner repeatedly, the massive manipulation because she's mad and has enough power to make her temper tantrum enormous, and so she does. The actual physical harm she does to Zang Hai. Like, girl, you are messed up. The way she uses the knife to dig into his palm because she's mad he won't share all his secrets with her. He dared to say no to her. So she throws a huge temper tantrum. And then he comes back and needs her help and she goes, ho, 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 I told you so. And then when he's like, he does need her help, so he's like, and then it gets to this point where it's like, okay, now all of a sudden she's decided that he's supposed to share every little detail about his life with her. And I'm like, you're not sharing all your details with him, for one thing, and for another thing, it isn't even like, why? What gives you the right to demand all of this from him? Nothing gives you that right. But you're curious, and you've decided that you have a right to know all of this, so you're going to be like so annoyed with him that you're almost going to ruin all of his plans repeatedly. She does this repeatedly, where she nearly destroys all of his plans, and then she's like literally sitting there and got his palm, and he can't fight back because of the situation we're in, and she's just like, yeah, so, and I'm like, she's a massive, massive jerk. She is a bad guy for the first while there. She is the same. And yet, I'm supposed to see her as a good guy. I reached the point of hating her when the whole situation with the coin came up. Everything she did to set up Zang Hai, to back him into a corner, to force him to do what she wanted him to do again. And gloated about it when she won again. And then what she did afterwards, like all of it. Oh, I hated her. At least she did say thank you. I don't think she ever said sorry. Like, ever. But at least she did say thank you when he saved her. I'd had so much more than enough with her by this point. Last straw, camel's back is broken. I hated her by this point. And by the way, it's slightly off topic, but this is probably the best place to mention what I almost forgot to mention, but that I did want to say. The way that Antu killed the two guys that she kills in this drama were both creepy. I'm telling you, it was well done in terms of realistic fighting when it's a girl versus a guy, I think. And like the kinds of things she would have to do in order to win against them. Wow. Even though they were bad guys, I shuddered both times and I actually felt bad for them. Oh, it was creepy because it was disturbing. And she did that and didn't even bat an eye over it. It didn't disturb her in the slightest that that's what she did. Okay, now going back and moving on. Thankfully, wow. Apart from her absolutely idiotic idea of killing herself to supposedly solve the problem, in my mind, like, basically nobody would take that as a solution. And yet everyone is constantly offering it. Like, really, people? Instead of, believing in people and stuff. This is another spoiler, so I'm being vague. But yes, I know, she had been trying to talk to Zang Hai before this. Now that the person he's targeting is here, too, and given the whole scene she walked in on, there are several things she could have and should have said instead. I mean, when I say believing in people, I mean the person she's trying to protect. In a way even more so than Zang Hai. If she truly thinks that that person is innocent, and at the same time she also loves Zang Hai, what she was doing was literally the stupidest thing she could have done. The whole thing made me so mad at her. But thankfully it was brief, and by this point I was already like, what she'd already been going through by this point. I'll get back to what changed my mind about her, because by the end of the drama I did like her. I'll get back to that. Also, that's one rather hypocritical thing people love to do, and yes, to a degree, I think everyone, including me, does it. But really think about it. Two different people in this drama told Zang Hai, basically, this is not word for word, but this is what they were pretty much saying. I will help you take revenge against all of your enemies. Doesn't matter who, doesn't matter how you take the revenge, like what exactly you do, whether you kill them or just destroy them, it doesn't matter. I will help you do it. Not only will I not get in your way, I will help you do it. Except that you can't touch this one person. Because I personally don't want you to touch them. Even if they are just as guilty as everybody else that I will personally help you take revenge on. They are literally just as guilty as them, and I know it as well as you know it. We all know it. But you still can't touch them. It's not them. But now, finally, apart from those things that I did not like, and I'll get back to the thankfully wow, I promise, the dragging story, Antu, and I don't know, there's maybe some other little things, including stuff like Zhu later in the story. Altogether, that's why this drama isn't a full 5 stars. But now we can finally move on to why it's so close to 5 stars. Here's what I liked and or loved about this drama. At the beginning, I was like, seriously? Is the whole drama gonna be like this? Like, slight spoilers, there are 3 scenarios within the first, 5 or so episodes where Zang Hai is the only survivor. People are dying gruesomely around him, and he's the only survivor. 3 times! I mean, enough, man! That was insane! If people think this is a dark drama, that would be why, because that's how it starts. But then we reach the first scene that will forever stick with me. And that's Zang Hai standing inside of the tomb, convincing the crowd of people watching him and listening on the outside of the tomb to let him walk out alive. I don't think I can even explain why that whole thing was so powerful to me. Just go and watch it. Then there's the whole way, and this could be called a spoiler, yes, but Zhu character and him versus Zang Hai. The whole way that Zhu not only realizes who Zang Hai is, I mean, dude, he is smart that he figured it out just from that. Perhaps slightly unrealistically slow, but I didn't feel like it was necessarily unrealistic while I was watching it. There was something about the way they did it that I think that was realistic enough. Like, he's smart. But also, how he handles who he is. What he does and does not do because of who he is. And the fact that he keeps it secret throughout the entire drama. Even when he ends up, even more of a spoiler here, turning against Zang Hai, he doesn't ever tell anyone who Zang Hai really is. I mean, that says something about Zhu Jing's character. One of the things I appreciated about this drama was the struggle Zang Hai had with holding on to hatred and why. They're right in this drama when they say it's hard to hold on to that for so long. Some people are a lot more one-track minded than others, but overall, if a human being wants to hang on to hatred and bitterness, they have to actively do that on purpose. Partly so I don't get in trouble for wording something wrong, I'm going to let the drama speak for itself on this point. All I will mention here is how one of the other memorable scenes there, when Zang Hai cries when he finally visits his old home and is remembering his family. Oh my gosh, it broke my heart. The sounds he was making. Guys, crying and laughing are 2 things that are very hard to fake. And I don't just mean crying or whatever, like actors and actresses do it all the time. People fake cry all the time. None, and even fake laugh or whatever. And it's pretty infectious and it's really well done. And it's realistic and it's good. To get the true, full-on hitting right in the deepest part of your very soul kind of crying or laughing that brings an involuntary, instant emotional response in return is hard. A lot of times when I cry with characters, it has to do more with the situation happening. The injustice, the anger of how unfair everything is, or it's something else. Not the crying itself about the scene. Like the death in a drama reminding me of the death of my family members. It's often not the character crying that did it to me. And I never necessarily thought about this or why. There are times, I'd say it's got to be the crying that's doing it, but at the same time, a lot of the time, when I really think about it, is it their crying that's actually making me cry? I'm not, sometimes yes, and other times no. It's not really them, it's something else. But, I never really thought about it until, right now, when I'm trying to write this and do this. But this scene when Zang Hai is crying, I was like, ouch, my heart. Ouch. I wanted so badly to wrap my arms around him and just sit there in silence holding him. Because there are no words to say when the pain runs that deep. The actor and voice actor, if it was someone else, deserve awards just for that little scene, I tell you. Another scene that keeps sticking in my head is when Zang Hai gets stabbed. Just the fact he knew it was... More spoilers. Just the fact he knew it was coming. In fact, he set it up to come. I don't know if that's how he wanted it all to go down. But anyway, the point is, he pretended to be asleep and unaware and could not do anything at all to stop it from happening. Oof. I don't know how to explain it, man. Just, oof. The last scenes that are specifically sticking in my head are big spoilers. Two more major than the other one. So the more major ones first, simply because it's on the same mood, wavelength, as what I'm already talking about, are the scenes where Zang Hai dies, and the scene where he sees his family before coming back to life. The scene where he died was so incredibly impactful. It was so well filmed. The way he was killed, the way he was utterly helpless, and how they showed that he was trying by instinct and by desperation, but literally couldn't fight back and stop this, because this time around he was 100% incapable of fighting any harder than he tried to fight. It was just... like they said in the drama, it must be done in silence, and I'm like, no kidding, it must be. There's no words for this. And then right after that scene is where he sees his family. And the reason I love this scene so much is because of what they remembered to put in there and give proper screen time to. Hi, Asuka. What are you meowing for? This video is going to be long enough without you interrupting it. In so many of these stories, yes, I know that we are all closer to certain family members than others, but in so many of these stories, characters fixate on one of the people they lost. And it's like the others start feeling somehow irrelevant. In the Demon Hunter's romance, for instance, we find a good example of this. He is so fixated on his dad, we barely notice his mother. His brother's, even more so. You don't notice him. At all. I, legit only just remembered. It's not even in the script, because I only just remembered. I was thinking, wasn't there somebody else? Who else was there? And I just remembered, it's his brother. He's so flippin' fixated on his father. You barely notice his mother, and his brother is nowhere to be found. Despite knowing full well how his mother and brother died. Where are they? What does he care at all? Did they become completely irrelevant? It's like they're totally irrelevant. It's only his father mattered. And this happens a lot in so many of these dramas. It ends up they fixate on one. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a representation. It's implied that it's the whole family. They fixate on the fact that they had a special bond with this family member. Okay, yes, that's true too. But at the same time, in Zang Hai, not only his mother was given proper attention to, his little sister is remembered and focused on in this scene. And the way that Zang Hai looks at her and touches her face, it was so sweet and so sad. That was his little sister. He watched her die too. But then completely flipping the mood here, the last scene that stood out to me as special, for lack of a better word, because there's lots of other stuff I remembered and liked. The entire drama, in my opinion, was handled so well in terms of acting and filming. As in directing and stuff like that. I don't remember the music right now. I marked it as a 3.5 star, ? Which means I appreciated something about it. Because if I mark it a 3, that means it properly supported the story, and if I rate it lower, it was insanely repetitive. Like the music in Moonlight Mystic, for instance. I hated one or two. I don't remember if it was one or two. I think it was mainly just one song. I hated it so badly. They used it so many times, and they used it in places that I don't think it was justified to be used, etc., etc. I was literally muting scenes. Every time that song came on, I don't care what was happening on screen, I had to mute it. I hated that song so much. I could not stand to listen to a single note of it again. Like, it was around the halfway point, I think, of that drama, if not maybe slightly past that. I literally had to start muting every single scene that song started in. I hated it so bad. And I rate the music higher if there are songs that I loved or something. But, basically 3 to 4 is where most dramas want to land on my scale, because for me, music done right in a drama is supposed to mostly fade to the background. It's there to boost the emotion or mood. It's not there to pull me away to focus on it instead. The music is not supposed to be the focus. It's supposed to support what's already happening in the scene and promote me being connected and whatever. It's not supposed to take me away from it because, oh, the song! I'm like, shut up and let the actors do what the actors are supposed to be doing. To be honest, I don't know what would even make the music reach a star 5 count. I really honestly don't have a clue. I don't know what the highest I've ever rated it is. I can't remember if I've even actually rated it a 4. Anyway. But yeah, the last specific scene I remember, now that we've kind of broken the mood a little bit away from what we were talking about, the last scene I wanted to mention is a bit of a spoiler. It's not quite as much of a spoiler, but it is still a spoiler. But for the totally opposite mood from the others, and that is the one and only kiss scene in this entire drama. Oh my gosh, girl. By this point, I liked Antu. And this scene brought out her character in a way that everything before either was trying but failing to do, or it was a part of her that had been twisted so badly it wasn't really capable of showing itself until now. She's the one that kisses Zang Hai. In episode 31, she pulls him forward and kisses him when he was not expecting her to. But there's more. The reason she does it, as she says, I don't hold grudges. I always get even on the spot. And then she not only kisses him, she bites his lip. And it's the entire setup, everything they've been through that brought them to this point where they are talking here. Everything they have said here to each other during this whole part. What she says, the fact she bites him gently. Like, there was no bruise even, let alone blood. It was a gentle bite. But and yes, the sound he makes, his reaction to the whole thing, the sound he makes when she bites him, everything about it. And then the way they are staring at each other and how she ends up looking away with the indication that he needs to sit back down and how he laughs and that's the end of it. I'm telling you, this scene is so incredibly powerful. It ends up being, this scene shows more than just the emotional passion of love. It shows the depth of everything involved in what love actually is, in my opinion. Romantic love. I love that. It's a tiny little thing, but the whole everything. The way they were talking to each other, what they were saying, the fact they were talking at all, everything about it was so well done. And then the kiss, just the fact she bit him. Now let me think. There's so much more I could say, things I'm already forgetting, like how frustrated I was by the amount of time we had to spend with the older brother and his mother after what happened to change the older brother the way it changed him. And yes, it's massive spoiler, so I won't say more. Just, why did we have to spend that much time with them? And it wasn't just them either, the bad guys in general. Way too much time spent with way too many of them, in my opinion. As typical in all of these dramas. I do not know why this is such a thing. And Antu's mother. It's a bit of a spoiler. I mean, even the fact she comes into the story is a bit of a spoiler. But everything about her story from the past, trying to convince the guy to give the thing to her, spoilers being vague, is one thing. But to try and convince him to stay with her instead of going home to his wife and kids, woman, you have crossed a line. Back off. And I'm supposed to feel sorry for her because the poor dear fell in love with him and she couldn't help it and her life is so hard. Shut up and get out of here. Go, get. He's married. Get out of here. But what else is there to say? There's a ton more I could say if I started skipping through it to remind myself. I mean, by the way, I really liked Chile, and I am so happy for Zang Hai that Guanfang existed. My word. The whole way that played out. Also, that reminds me, one thing this drama did so well, and I mean so well, is the construction of Zang Hai's new family. Because that's what it was. Who was included and why they were included. It was all so natural and so well done that there's one point while they're sitting around eating, and even Zang Hai is basically going, "This is my family. Wow." And I'm sitting here with him going, "I might just cry. This is his family. Wow." But this even more so brings me to the last thing I need to mention, and that's how Antu went from being someone I was so mad at and ended up briefly hating. Way too many dramas end up brushing everything people like her do aside, and even in this one, that's what it was like for the first longest time. Zang Hai had to brush it aside. He had to bite his tongue and let her get away with so many things she should not have gotten away with. But when it came down to it, even though he was definitively in love with her by this point, he prevents her from stopping him. Why did I write that twice? In so many other dramas, take Love a Lifetime, for example. Look how insanely screwed over Nalan and dozens of other people get screwed over, all because Nalan was bending over backwards to make Rung Hua happy. It was so bad that this many years after I watched the drama, I still remember that it was that bad. Pause and note here. I've said elsewhere that I'm not in favor of revenge for numerous reasons. But far too many stories do wrong what I think Legend of Zang Hai did right. He did not let her stop him. He did not recklessly go ahead and do something that can't be undone either. Understand that. Because it's vitally important. That is not what he's like, and it's not what he ever did. It is something I truly think Antu herself was not even seeing. Hence why she offered to kill herself, and that's what it took to stop him. If that's what it took to stop him. Stop him from what? He was already holding back because he knew without a doubt how heavy this decision was. And he actually wanted to make sure he was right. And even if he was right, did he really want to do this? By and large because of Antu, but not just because of her. And I'd say he was willing to listen. I mean, why was he even here to begin with? Why did he believe so thoroughly that this was the person he was looking for? Was it so thoroughly? I mean, seriously, I've said it before and I mean it. There are so many situations that would not be happening if arrogant and prideful people would just freaking talk the way they should be talking. I'm telling you, she had no reason apart from arrogance to not tell him what he was asking. Sorry, again, very vague because this is a spoiler and I'm already saying more than I meant to. I actually didn't need to bring up all of that stuff. I went off on a tangent. Point here was supposed to be Antu. Zang Hai continued to do what he was trying to do. For the first time in the drama, he made her stay out of it. And given the heavy severity of being put to the side during this part and everything that happened as a result, Antu, in my opinion, finally grew up. Finally! She learned a lesson. And this is why I say the whole setup to the scene I spoiled earlier made that scene so powerful. What they said, how they said it, why they said it. Finally, in this drama, stuff got dealt with on both sides. Is it really too much to ask for this to happen more often in dramas? That's the best I can do to explain this. I've said it before. Why I hate the girls so often. It's not just about what they do. It's about what they and everyone else in the drama doesn't do. And in this one, Zang Hai stayed true to himself, and she learned a lesson, and so did he, and the strength of their relationship and their own characters as individuals both got boosted and intensified as a result. And I went from hating Antu to being satisfied and liking her and loving the couple as a result. And then I guess I really should say that these stupid dramas I've complained about before were supposedly, it's an equality thing, But it's absolutely not an equality thing. The girl always ends up more powerful than the guys in the end, either physically powerful or status powerful or whatever. The girl is always way bigger than the guy. The guy gets put down so far. Equality? Shut up. It's not equality. Where was my script here? In this drama, I personally, and this is a massive spoiler about the end of the drama, I personally really liked how Antu basically lost everything and she was okay with it. It was not because of Zang Hai that she lost everything, and it was not for Zang Hai that she lost everything either. It was how the House of Cards fell. She still had strength. She still had money. Like, Zang Hai said something at one point about him and the others still relying on her to foot the bills because she's the only one with any money. But in the end, she and Zang Hai really were on equal footing. Neither one of them was useless or pointless. They were in a beautiful unity of balanced harmony that was natural and, again, beautiful. He had ways of protecting her. She had ways of protecting him. I loved it. All of it. So there you go. Respect, strength, love, family ties, honest conversations. I almost forgot I wanted to mention how finally someone said it. In so many of these stories, the hero is always right. But in the one scene where Zang Hai goes, even if I trust you, can I trust your future generations? And the guy he's talking to, spoilers aside, goes, well, what about you and yours? And I'm like, the fairest question of them all. Because he's right. Yes, I, the viewer, absolutely trust Zang Hai more than the other guy with this thing. But do I even actually trust Zang Hai 100% with it? And even more so, why does everyone always think they are the only ones that can handle something right? Good on this guy for pushing back on that. Sum up. I highly recommend this drama. If you've seen it, feel free to leave a comment. If you do not like it, please explain why. If you loved it, please explain why. If you haven't seen it yet, did I make you curious enough to give it a shot? If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up. And that is that. Thanks for watching. Suddenly, all of a sudden, we're actually done. Bye.